Well, the first step is to, and this is more of a business practice than a legal question, but sometimes businesses kind of forget these things. But the first step is to try and limit exposure to those kind of trade secrets to employees that absolutely have to know that information. So if you have someone that works for the company and that person does not need to know that sensitive information, then the first step is to not or to limit the access that employee would have. So that's the first step, is to limit the access that your employees have to that type of information, to only essential personnel for that particular project or that particular trade or product secret or that intellectual property. Now, once you've done that, if you have somebody that is going to be working in those areas and going to have access to that kind of information, then you have them sign an agreement stating that they will not share that trade information and they will not share that intellectual property with a competitor. And again, it has to be, there are some limitations with time and scope. But if you draft those correctly, then they're enforceable and you may have a liquidated damage clause. And then you can also, too, limit the employee from actually obtaining employment with a competitor. So it's the trade secrets, it's intellectual property, and it's the shifting of employment to a competitor. And those are all things that the non-compete, if it's crafted carefully, will include. And as I stated as well, there also may be some liability on the competitor's part. Now, you can't draw up contracts with all your competitors, so it's not a breach of contract, and that's why there's a separate tort, which is the intentional interference with contractual rights. So if the competitor knows that there's a non-compete and knows that there's a bar on the employee sharing sensitive information, and they hire that person anyway, and then they obtain that sensitive information, that protected information, then they may very well be exposed to monetary damages in a lawsuit as well.